So the next category of tools or family technology is fire and light. Having the ability to start fire out in the woods is it's important. It's not as super important as maybe some YouTube survivalist channels would lead you to believe, because you have to make the calorie calculations. Depending on what you're doing, is it worth the energy it takes to get a fire started? Do you need it for signaling? Are you allowed to have open fires where you're at? But it's always good to just be prepared just in case. So you want to have several ways, minimum three ways to get fire on your body. The easiest way is just to have open flame with you at all times, which is not going to work because it's on the video. Oh, it's out of fluid. I brought it just for demo because I don't actually carry this. Like a Zippo, notorious for running out when you need them, or a just a disposable Bic lighter, which is in my little cook kit here. Just a little disposable lighter so you can get flame whenever you need it. So that's the first thing you should have. Bright colored little disposable lighter costs like $1, maybe like an $8 Zippo, which you got to remember to fuel up before you make a demonstration on a video. Having flame with you. Secondary thing would be to have your second level, we call a fire necklace. I wear this. This is from Wazoo Survival Gear. It actually is their fire necklace. It's just a cord, and on that cord around my neck, there's a little tiny ferrocerium rod that's on there and a little ceramic chip so that I can use that as a striker. All right, so it's nice to have that kind of just there. Now I've always got a way to start fire. If I pair that with some tinder, okay, so I'm not searching around trying to catch material with that spark, like wet bark or something, I could carry in my pocket a little piece of fat wood to make curls, combine this in my pocket with my fire necklace. Got a way to start fire if my pocket lighter doesn't work or gets lost. Another thing you can do is carry what we call a fire poke, just a little medicine bag around my neck or on my person at all time, just like my knife. So I always have the knife and fire. And in here I've got another little striker with a ceramic. I could put a small lighter in my fire poke. It's all up to you. And I keep these little wads of accelerant impregnated cotton. These are from little fire plugs from Bigfoot Bushcraft. I like these the best. These are great. I just got a few of those in there with that little ceramic striker. And if I'm not wearing my fire necklace, I keep my fire poke on me. Typically this is I always use this when I go out, or in the winter I would replace that with my fire poke because now I've got some more tinder. I've got a better chance to start fire. Maybe some fat wood in there. Your third fire line is going to be your fire kit. So that's just another little bag here. And in that I would keep bits of birch bark or jute twine or string, a fire striker. Maybe I keep a second lighter in there. Maybe I keep a small tin of, here, I'll make a big mess with these. I got a tin of little fire starters. I've got this one filled with Bigfoot Bushcraft again, and yet another little tiny fire striker, ferrocerium rod with a ceramic striker. Can't have too many of these things. But I can use that tin as a char tin as well to make char cloth. Then I maybe carry a full-size striker in my bag. So 3 minimum, 5 is probably better, just in case, you know, you can get fire started and practice with that. We'll do a whole video on fire starting. But you should have 3 ways to start fire, and then you should have some way to have a light on you. A good expedient for just in case is to just have a chem light, some kind of glow stick you can take out and crack and get light. They weigh nothing, they cost nothing. It's not a bad deal to throw 2 in your bag. These also can fill in your lost and found area when you use them for signaling. If I break my leg, it's getting dark, I crack the stick, hang it in a tree, then lay down and hope somebody looks under the light. If I am going to carry a light, I'm going to carry a small flashlight on me. I might get a flashlight that I can attach to a headband and wear as a headlamp, or stick that light on my backpack strap. I carry a dedicated headlight. That's kind of our recommended one. Couple glow sticks in my bag and a headlamp. I'm usually good to go for camping. If you take a headlamp, and if it's not a rechargeable type headlamp that you've topped off, make sure you carry some extra batteries. And if you're going full kit and your group decided they're going to want to sit around at night, you might want to think about bringing a lantern. There are lots of lanterns. I got this. This is from Black Diamond. It's like a little glowing lantern. Super portable. Black Diamond's got a few of them. I forgot to bring the other one. But it just got little rings. It can hang in my tent. It can hang from some string. I can set it up outside so we all have some light to, maybe it's raining, we're in the tent, we want to play cards or dice or something. So having that is a good idea. Here's another type of light that sits up vertically or at an angle, so I can clip that on my pack strap when I'm walking around, or maybe on my shirt. It's got a little magnet so it sits up. It's got a little blinking or signaling. Oh, I don't want to blind everybody. Right? It's got a little signaling device so it can blink. Your headlamp's probably got that capability too, and red light, so that's good to have. Get all this stuff in there. So that's for fire and light, and another part of fire and light is you're going to be cooking and there's no opportunity to make open flame. You still want to carry some redundancy to start flame, or at least get your stove going, and for that you have a couple options. You could go with a jet boil. Not a fan of jet boil necessarily because it's great for boiling water, and if you're limited to lightweight and dehydrated meals, that's great. I don't use the jet boil so much anymore. I do use this little MSR Whisper Light stove. It's just a little stove. It's kind of like the idea of the jet boil, but it folds down really small and it's so light. And I can take this little stove and tie it on, screw it to the top of, I got them upside down, to the top of a fuel container, and then I can cook in my skillet. I can heat water. I could even cook directly over the open flame if I wanted. And then if I'm going to take a fuel canister and a stove, you might want to think about taking an extra fuel canister. Be aware in Michigan that the temperature has a direct effect on how well these things work. So because of that, going to Manitou Island, I probably will take my Whisper Light stove because it's quick, it's easy, it's definitely safer to cook or boil water on that for my wife and I to eat. But I've also, oh, here's another little thing. Sometimes these little extras make a big difference. This is a little stabilizing stand for my my fuel stove. I mean, not strictly necessary, but it doesn't weigh anything. It's kind of nice. So pair that up with your fuel cell. I'm a big fan of natural fuel stoves. So there's so many different types you can get. I don't have an example of a little box stove that pops out, but you can get those little little fold-up box stoves we showed in some other videos. We'll do a video on different stoves. But this is just my little titanium stove. It folds up like that. It's got a little grill underneath for ventilation. You just put little twigs and organic matter in there. You could bring some, I have these little pucks made of wood chips and wax that we've made. I can put that in there. I can put a little alcohol stove fuel cell in there, some little S-bit fuel stoves, stove fuel tabs in there. Or if I'm out in Michigan, I can find little dried twigs and sticks to burn in my miniature little stove and heat my water up. I should have kept out my bush pot, but heat or boil my water or even roast a marshmallow over that. And then it weighs nothing. It folds up really light. This is the Vargo Titanium Hexagon Wood Stove. The problem with this is they get a little spendy. You're paying for the lightweight and the convenience of it. Doesn't cost any more than an MSR or a significantly less than a jet boil setup with the fuel stoves. And this, besides open fire, I can always find something to burn. Right, so I like these. This would be what I would carry in my cook kit, along with my little fire bag as my main cook kit. This is my cooking. Something we've come up with recently, which we're pretty excited about, are these Yuko folding grills. Now this one is pretty inexpensive. It's not super light, but it's a pretty neat little setup. It's a little firebox that you unfold. Let's see if I can get that through there. That you unfold, and now you can have a fire, and you can put a little grill on top of that. And now I've got a fire that's off the ground, still dirty, but I have a miniature fire. I can put my bush pot on there. You can cook directly on the grill with your skillet. So an area where you can't have an open fire on the ground, They don't necessarily require the jet boils like on Manitou. This might be a little bit too close to open fire line to have a portable grill. I think they allow portable grills, which this would count in the campground area. But out in the back country, I'd have to use my small Vargo or my Esbit folding natural fuel stoves so I could keep those clean. But this little grill setup is kind of neat. We've got this the small 2 to 4 person, then we've got the large 4 to 6 person medium, and then they've got a big one. These are great in the winter because it keeps the fire off the ground. We found several uses for these. So think of under your fire and light, not only being able to find your way at night with a candle, a chem stick, chem light, or a headlamp or a flashlight, and being able to start fire reliably 3 different ways minimum. Think about different ways you're going to cook or prepare food if you have to. On hiking, the simplest way is dehydrated meals. All you need to do is boil or purify or heat up water, and you can eat. But you might want to make. So we cook at camp. We make things all the time. You got to have some cooking items. You could always just roast it or fry it in the fire, but sometimes it's good to have different cooking gear depending on the level of camp you're doing. So I made a separate fire and light cooking section. Stove and grill, fuel and extra fuel canister, a kitchen towel, tongs, and a flipper. So don't forget some kind of tongs. Not sure what we did with our tongs, but or a spoon, or you can fashion up some chopsticks. So that's it for the cooking part. And then the next is cordage.